Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, LLC, offers more value than any other good full-service real estate brokerage firm when it comes to the sale of your home. We offer at least 27 things that contribute to your home selling in the least amount of time at the highest price. To receive our free home selling pamphlet, email us at info@brooksanddavis.com or call 713-665-8329. We also assist people who want to purchase homes or who are interested in getting their real estate license. Visit us at www.brooksanddavis.com.
Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network. It's a pleasure to be here today. I am your host. I'm Rick Davis. You can follow me on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Network Rick. You can also follow me on Facebook at Rick Davis Real Estate. This is going to be an outstanding web series and podcast. You'll get everything, all the information, all of the tips, tools, and know-how necessary to not only invest in real estate, but also if you're out shopping for real estate and you need to buy and sell, to make your home the prime piece of real estate in your area and how to spot out the best real estate in the area. I'll be here every week around this same time, but I'll also have a co-host. You might have met my co-host out at Networking Opportunities. You might have seen him on different social media outlets. But here and only here at this podcast will you get the information from him and from him directly. So I want to introduce the entire Facebook family, the Prime Real Estate Network family, and everyone who may be seeing us online, to my host, Mr. Larry W. Brooks.
Woo woo, hey man, I love that introduction, Mr. Davis, man, appreciate that. Listen, guys, I'm excited to be here with you again, Larry W. Brooks. Most of you may know me as the Texas Real Estate King. I've been in this real estate industry over 17 years, and I have an opportunity to be here with you to be able to share some gems, some nuggets, some of the things that have made me successful, that have made my longevity in this business so sustainable. So I get to answer those questions that I'm hit with all the time. Larry, you know, how do you able to do this? How do you able to keep the longevity? So I'll be able to give you a personal touch and information as we move forward with that. But I want you to always know that you can reach out to me on all of my social media platforms at Texas Real Estate King, Larry W. Brooks, or that Texas Real Estate King. Please feel free to reach out to me if you ever have any needs. But I'm excited to be here with my co-host. I'm excited about the insider look that we're going to give you with this platform. And I don't think that there's anything else out there that's like this, that's going to feed the need that you're going to have, or feed the need that so many people have as they grow financially, as they grow from going from being a college student to wanting to be a homeowner, someone that's looking for a career change, that's looking to get into the real estate industry and how they do that, someone that may be increasing their value and wanting to get into commercial real estate space. So we're going to talk about all of those things, and it won't be today that we'll discuss all of them, but we'll just touch on, you know, how we plan on changing the world with this podcast, guys.
Oh, first things first, Larry, you know we have to give the biggest shout out to all of your IG followers.
Hey,
we are now currently broadcasting live on Instagram. So everyone who follows the Texas Real Estate King on IG, definitely tune in right now, because we will only be broadcasting live on Instagram for the first 15 minutes. In every episode. So please get all your questions in. If there's anything you want to know, if there's anything about today's episode or any future episodes that somebody would like to add, or things that they'd like to see at a later date, please get involved with us, interact with us on Instagram. We would love to have you. After the first 15 minutes are complete, we will go dark on Instagram, but please be sure to subscribe and look us up on iTunes.
That's right.
At the Prime Real Estate Network. From there, you'll be able to see the rest of the show, and by subscribing, you will also get updates.
Yes, updates
about each additional show and when they are actually uploaded to iTunes. So this is something that's been a really, really big commitment for Mr. Brooks and myself. And we just are doing this, and don't want to put words in his mouth. I can only speak for myself. It's because a lot of my friends, family, clients have always said that there isn't anyone who's using their platform to bring real estate information and knowledge to the public in a way where the layman or someone who may not necessarily be as versed
Yeah.
in real estate transactions can digest and put into practice.
I agree. I totally agree. And even with that comment, even someone that's usually people only find a way to have access is if they're paying a large amount of money to go to some kind of conference or convention. And then again, they still, if you're not using layman's terms, it's still very difficult to understand this industry and what it is that we do. So not only are we going to come to you and talk to you about some of those layman terms that we use when it comes to real estate, so you can use it very practically as well. So even if you're a realtor and you're trying to get started in this industry and you're wanting to figure out, the details behind the background, we're going to give you some of the behind the scenes on some of those. Some of the secrets that I train and use with the realtors that we have that's a part of my company, the team. Yeah.
Well, and of course, I want to make sure everyone knows this isn't your grandfather's real estate podcast. We're going to try to add some extra spark. I want to make sure we add extra juice to the show. So not necessarily here on our premiere episode, but down the line, expect to see interviews from movers and shakers in local government. We also want to show how real estate influences all aspects of most of our lives. So you'll find people from the private sector, people from entertainment sector, people from sports and entertainment, and show you how even if a career in real estate isn't something that you've seen for yourself to this point, but I want to make sure everyone understands how real estate affects all aspects of our lives. Yeah. And hopefully by subscribing to our podcast, you'll see some things that'll flip a switch.
Yeah.
It'll be that spark that ignites your passion for real estate. And of course, if there's any questions or anything, please, like I said before, hit us on Instagram. You can always inbox or message us directly.
No doubt about it. And along with that, the biggest thing is we want to be able to bust some of these myths that you hear out there. So
Mythbusters.
Oh yeah, you get a lot of things that you hear, you feel like you Google and it's misleading information. So we want to be here, be a platform that can help take down some of that misleading information that you receive, Rick. So I want to most definitely have that out there. And it's again, we're going to be a full service podcast. So being a full service podcast, we're going to most definitely real estate podcast. We're going to cover everything. So that investment piece or the investment conversation that you've been thinking about, we're going to bring on experts that can talk to you about different investment vehicles that you could use in order to become financially free, financially wealthy when it comes to this industry. So I don't want you to think that every week you're just going to have us good looking guys on here, but we're going to most definitely bring in some other skilled and talented people in our industry moving forward so that you can take the feedback that they have and apply it the way that you choose to. And again, as Rick was saying, it's very important to go ahead and subscribe and share, of course, but it's very important to subscribe so that when we do have those seminars that are exclusive, that we typically charge $500 for someone to come in and listen to us give presentations. For our followers, those most definitely would be something that you probably get complimentary or at very little cost. So subscribing and being able to get updates a lot quicker than other people is going to be crucial.
And to piggyback on what Larry is speaking towards, I would like to ask all of our social media family, tag, contact anyone, and especially young people. One of the platforms and foundations of this particular real estate podcast is that we would like to use this to ignite a fire and a passion in young people. Yeah. So anyone, high school, college, nieces, nephews, mentors, mentees, if you serve as a big brother or a big sister, this would be something that I think would be outstanding to tag any young people on so that they can have some exposure and hopefully some influence to open their mind to aspects of financial investing and a possible career path later.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And as we touch on that, Rick, I was wondering, would you like to share at this time what got you into real estate, what excited you, or maybe even your first transaction?
It's funny you ask. I'm glad. This first episode for everyone, we would like to call Why Real Estate. A lot of times, especially when you choose a career path, everyone has their own story from their background, their upbringing, some of their influence and mentors of why they chose the particular type of career in which they've chosen to endeavor. Now, to answer your question, Larry, it's funny. I began my real estate career not here locally in Houston, but I had the pleasure of first serving the public in a real estate capacity in the great city of Las Vegas.
Uh-oh.
Right.
Sin City, huh?
And it's funny because the thing I loved about Vegas, and of course you don't know these things at the time, but in retrospect, it's a really, really big melting pot.
Yeah.
And you meet people from diverse backgrounds. You meet people that are not just domestic, but international buyers as well. And it's funny. It brings up a funny story. I was working with a Fortune 500 publicly traded home builder.
Uh-huh.
And when you are actually brought on staff, you must be a licensed agent. So there was the formal real estate education and licensing process, which when it's your first time, it can bring its own challenges.
Yeah.
But, and this is not to give too much behind the scenes information, but of course, I've known you for a very long time.
Yes, sir.
So even as I was going through the stages of getting licensed, I'll be able to refer to people like yourself, other people that I've known that had already made it past that particular step to keep me grounded, but at the same time, motivate me to keep persevering. But back to the point, my first deal, I've been on the sales floor, I want to say maybe 2 days, met a nice gentleman. Now, once again, this is in Las Vegas. So we talked about his needs. I was selling condos at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And just to go back from a date perspective, this was 2006, 2007. So in the city of Las Vegas, condos, new homes, new construction was really booming at the time.
Yeah.
So I sat down with this gentleman, and the reason why it sticks in my mind so clearly because not only was it my first deal, but it was a pretty unique buyer and buying process. So I spoke to this gentleman, I asked him what he did. He said that he worked in one of the shows on the Las Vegas Strip.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting. I mean, I visited Las Vegas before. I enjoyed shows on the Strip, but this was my first time actually meeting someone who worked in one of the shows. So spoke to the gentleman. He worked in Cirque du Soleil, and he was one of the high-flying trapeze guys, and he also did some contortionist work.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, I had never met a trapeze artist and contortionist before, so I decided that it was important for me to be able to serve his needs, but by also getting to know him a little bit and going into his background.
Yeah.
Come find out, this gentleman had a background in sports. He was a male gymnast in college, and upon graduation, he had his choice of Wall Street or Las Vegas to be in Cirque du Soleil. One of his teammates sold him on the idea of Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And Las Vegas it was. So I was really curious as far as how the pay structure was set up. And it was pretty normal.
Yeah.
W-2 employee. We went through all of his taxes, got him pre-qualified, built his home for him. But the reason why that really sticks out in his mind because he had no idea that he was my first client.
Yeah. Yeah.
But since he was my first client, I wanted to make sure I gave him my everything.
Yeah.
All of my energy, all of my passion, all my attention to detail. And even after he closed, our relationship as far as buyer and seller stayed really strong.
Mm-hmm.
He opened my eyes to some aspects of buying a home that as the seller I might not have necessarily taken into consideration.
Yeah.
And since we had built such a strong bond, I was able to be referred out to other people in his show.
And that's powerful.
And what it did for me, not only have I seen the Cirque du Soleil show about 10 times, but
relationships.
But it also opened my eyes to those that are in non-traditional occupations, entertainers, athletes, business owners, entrepreneurs. Because what I learned working with that gentleman is that there are some additional roadblocks that they have to work towards that some people in a more traditional line of work may not necessarily have to work with. So that was great experience for that to be my very, very first maiden deal.
Good, man.
But it's funny because I know a lot of our friends, family that we know we've been developing a podcast. And there were a couple of things that they were like, you got to make sure you ask Larry about on the show. A lot of people have just seen your career as it's blossomed over time. This summer will be my 12th summer in the industry. And like I mentioned earlier, when I was going through the licensing process, you were someone that I would lean on for motivation and advice. And for me, 12 years seemed like yesterday. So please, for everyone on Instagram, all of our podcast subscribers, hopefully, so please remember to subscribe to us on iTunes. Just go into your background, your motivation, and just speaking from a personal perspective.
Yeah.
The thing that I've always kept close and always at the forefront of my conscience when it comes to you is that I've never known you to have any other professional or career aspirations that weren't tied into real estate.
Yeah.
So for our people at home and online, could you just go into who might have been some of your initial mentors and what sparked this fire in you?
I know, man. Well, look, I have been in this industry over 17 years. And so now, let's not get to thinking age along with that. I was young. I'm young when I first got in. Honestly enough, as I've told Rick several times, like most people, when you're youthful, you're not exposed. No one tells you about real estate. So that's important about this show. We want to expose the youth to it as well. No one talked to me about, becoming a realtor that could actually be a career. People always talked about real estate as a second career. Matter of fact, when I got into the business as a licensed realtor, the average age for a realtor was 58 years old at that time. And so I don't think it's changed very much, but I'm looking forward to actually planting seeds that will allow our industry to become younger as well, more professional as well. But to touch on a little bit of my background. So I was raised by my grandmother. She was the very first entrepreneur I ever saw. And so the platform and the tools that I use in the real estate industry are things that I learned back in elementary, middle school, selling things, being able to speak to people, being able to communicate and get my point across and allow someone to understand how it is that I could help and serve them. That was one of the things that my grandmother reared in us as we was growing up. So then moving on to college, where myself and Rick met, it was ideal because even in college, I did things that were like sales. For example, I sold candy on the campus. Everyone was like, "Larry, you sell candy in college?" Yes, I sold candy in college. But believe this, when I tell you the secret to my success not only started from the things in my background, but the exact same steps that I used to build the Brooks and Davis real estate firm with my partner, Michael Davis, at this point are some of the same strategies that I use in order to build those candy businesses, because I was that kid that, once I found out that you needed more than just me, I added people to my team. So I had people in different dorms, different hallways in high school that would sell this stuff for me. So moving forward, graduated college, and at the time of graduating college, we had companies, large companies. If you're from the Texas or you really followed the media at that time, was Dynasty and Enron, these large oil and gas companies that were going out of business. So you had people like myself with a marketing degree that you had an average person that had 10 years or 20 years willing to take the same $30,000 salary. So coming out, having a what I would call a regular 9-to-5 job just wasn't an option at that time, Rick. And so since I had the little bit of background in real estate, and what that was is that I would come home for like winter semesters or, when we get the Christmases off, and my best friend, his family had a mortgage company. So they would allow me to go in, do loans, and I really saw the process. And I was so excited because I seen a few young people doing mortgages, and I was like, oh my God, look at the automobiles that they drive and look at the houses that they living in. And so that's when I first got my first bit of exposure to real estate as something that you could do as a career and financially make good money doing. And so moving forward with that, when I graduated, my best friend, he had already left school, and he was already in real estate full time, and he was doing great. And even at the time, I really didn't wrap my mind around it. He just was doing good. Had a nice automobile, nice house. And one time we went out, we hanging out, and we went to a local night spot, and he met a gentleman. The gentleman was a professional football player. He met the gentleman, shook his hand, and told him, he said, "Man, you did a great job on the Super Bowl. I'm a licensed realtor. If you ever plan on relocating back to the city, let me know." Those were the words. And it's funny because we always say my man had the platinum hand because he could shake hands and have a good conversation with people. And so after him having that conversation with the gentleman did call him. And in 3 weeks, he closed the deal and made like $42,000. I was like, wow, you made
that's outstanding.
In 3 weeks?
That's outstanding.
What people make in a year? I'm going to get this real estate license, and I have not looked back since then. So me and my friends joke all the time about Larry, you've never had a 9-to-5 clock in type job. I was like, you know what? You're kind of right about that. I've always been in this space of entrepreneurship, and it's been good to me. So, I actually have an opportunity now to pour more of that knowledge, not only into the people that I deal with on a daily basis, but the people that'll subscribe to our podcast and be good fans to us.
And that's outstanding. I appreciate your candor. Thank you so much for sharing that particular part of your life.
Yeah.
After our break, everyone, we'll be back. We talked about our why real estate. When we come back after this message from our sponsor, we'll talk about some of the things that can be your why to get involved in the real estate industry. So we'll be right back after these messages.
Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm, LLC, offers more value than any other good full-service real estate brokerage firm when it comes to the sale of your home. We offer at least 27 things that contribute to your home selling in the least amount of time at the highest price. To receive our free home selling pamphlet, email us at info@brooksanddavis.com or call 713-665-8329. We also assist people who want to purchase homes or who are interested in getting their real estate license. Visit us at www.brooksanddavis.com.
Welcome back to the Prime Real Estate Network. Once again, I'm your host. I'm Rick Davis, here with my co-host, Mr. Larry W. Brooks. In the first part of our show, we talked about our personal why we chose real estate as a career, profession, and a practice. In this part of our show, me and Larry will discuss some of the things that I think would be appealing to someone who's not currently involved in the real estate industry. So my first thing, Larry, is for the young people.
Yeah.
What would be one of your first piece of advice of why they may want to consider real estate if they hadn't already thought about it?
Yeah. Well, Rick, the thing is that I do have an opportunity of speaking to generational kids all the time when I do career fairs or even when I'm going to the school and doing mentorship programs with them. And so one of the things that I see that stands out, and the nugget that I would give guys is, sales is one of the highest paying professions, or the highest paying profession you can ever be a part of. And so if you're a person and you're okay with having what they call people skills, or you're still trying to find yourself, you want to know what lane you want to be in, real estate is a good area to really grow in, because it allows you to use the skills that you've had your entire life, and that's just to be able to communicate with people. If you communicate with people, you're teachable and coachable. This is a line of work that you can be very successful in. And not only that, one of the things that for a fact, if you ever look at any multi-millionaires or people that we look up to, they always have a portfolio in real estate. So you can always get into real estate as an investor if you come from a family that can afford to do that, or from that point of view for you. So those are some good ideas when it comes to real estate.
And it's just to piggyback on what you're saying. I speak to a lot of young men and young ladies on a regular basis, public appearances, speaking engagements.
Yes, sir.
And I come from a family of educators. So to a certain extent, I think education and public service is in my blood.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that even if I had no direction, I think naturally the universe would just make me gravitate towards serving the public in that way. And I wanted to make sure I asked you, because I'll speak from my own perspective, but I just think that when I was a teenager, high school, college, there weren't any real estate mentors. There weren't anyone who came to my high school, spoke to us about real estate from an investment standpoint or from a career standpoint. And once I was older and I was blessed enough to have the opportunity to be in the real estate field and have this as a career in a real estate practice, I would always sit back at night and think to myself, who's going out there to find the next young Rick Davis who knows that he wants to be a professional, is not afraid of hard work, is not afraid to educate themselves? How is it that this next generation are going to have professional real estate mentors to not only expose them, but also take them under their wing, teach, educate, and show them the importance of sales skills, marketing skills? And when you were younger, was there anyone in your life that motivated you? Because I know you spoke on your grandmother.
Yeah.
And family is always going to be the number one motivator.
Yeah.
To get off the couch and change your life.
Yeah. I agree.
But was there anyone in those formative years?
No, there wasn't, Rick. And the thing is I think the thing that allowed me more to, because I'll speak to some of what you said about the service aspect of this, because this is what we do in real estate is a very, very big when it comes to the service aspect of it. And so I do recall when I was in my younger years, I did a lot of volunteer work. So I got scholarships and everything from doing volunteer work as well. But the one thing that you will get from real estate, if you like volunteering, if you like servicing people, you're going to be a part of the biggest transaction in most people's lives. There's two things that people buy, they're normal, not entrepreneurs, but people that just have your regular 9 to 5. The two largest purchases that they make is going to be a car and their home. And so you're going to be a part of an investment that someone's going to make for over 30 years of their life. If that isn't big, if that's not a good why for you to allow you to, if you're a service person, then I don't know what could be. That's a big why. And,
service, a lot of times, and this is from young people that I've met, you talk to them about volunteer work.
Yeah.
They're kind of like, they zone out. Because sometimes volunteerism and public service seems like a lot of work for no reward.
Yeah.
But the great thing about real estate is that you're rewarded not only financially, but also it feeds your spirit.
It does.
I can't tell you, Larry, how many of my clients I still keep in contact with on a regular basis. Anniversaries, birthdays, holidays. And they always explain to me how, Rick, when we first started off on this real estate journey, we thought it was going to be such a big expense. But since we've actually closed on our home and been living in it, we have a lot more money now than we had before. It's amazing because real estate is always something that most people feel they can carry an educated conversation about. But unless you're actually in the career field and you actually educate yourself around other real estate professionals, really it's a lot of word of mouth and hearsay.
That's right.
And that's why I'm so excited about having this platform, because I want to be the real estate myth buster. Along with yourself, we're going to be the real estate myth busters. Real estate myth busters. So all those bad ideas you heard at the coffee cooler at work, all those investment tales that seem like pie in the sky and things that are too good to be true. Once again, in between episodes, you can always reach out to me. You can find me on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Rick. You can also search for me on Facebook at Rick Davis Real Estate, because we will be here every week at this same time. We'll be the Prime Real Estate Network. Subscribe to us once again on iTunes. We'll also be on Stitcher, Spotify, and all your other streaming services. But please always remember, in real estate, we play the win because everyone loves a winner. And then, Larry, as we close out this episode, are there any thoughts that you want to leave our Facebook subscribers, your Instagram followers?
Yeah. Rick, I'm just I just like to tell everybody that I'm excited about this platform. Over the last 2 to 3 years, that I've been asked over and over to get into this role. And you may have seen me speak on a lot of different friends podcasts and a lot of other businesses podcasts, but to actually take this journey with you, I'm excited. I'm excited just to be able to share things that I know that are going to change lives out there. So we may be starting out with 1 and 2 with me and you right now, but as we grow to 1 and 2 million of people and subscribers with this show, and just really changing what I like to call generational curses, and what those things are is a lot of times they built into lack of knowledge. I come from a family that it was a lot of lack of knowledge, and so we didn't know what we didn't know. So hopefully with this show, we're able to help people fill in those blanks of what they don't know so that they can make the right kind of decisions. But much like yourself, I could be reached upon every social media platform. I'm on all of them at Texas Real Estate King. Again, at Texas Real Estate King on every social media platform. In addition to that, you can also go and visit my website. There's a lot of other things on there at LarryWBrooks.com. Visit my website at any time you choose, LarryWBrooks.com. It has been a pleasure speaking with you guys, episode 1, and I'm excited.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks again. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.